So look, if you want to grow your wealth, your income, and increase the amount of time off, then these are the shortcuts that can help. Welcome to the Wealth Creation Podcast. Welcome everybody, Dan Latto speaking. Welcome to Property Cashflow Show every Wednesday at 12 noon, allegedly, to summer holidays. We're never quite on time in the summer holidays. Okay, so let's talk about property sourcing. Question that we get asked a lot, of course, is how do I find my first property deal? And of course, that's all detailed in a £27 property sourcing training. But what we can tell you, in addition to that training, but you should also go buy, because it's got everything in there, including NDAs and contracts and all sorts of things, leaflets you can download and use, and so on. Anyway, you can sign up for that. But in this session, I want to give a little bit away about how to source deals. Now, there's only a couple of ways in which you can find deals anyway. And in my experience, it's not finding the deal that's the problem. It's actually getting the deal across the line. So there's several steps that I want to talk to you about in today's session, specifically about how you get this deal across the line. And it is still to do with how to find your first deal, because this is what tends to happen. You might drop 20,000 leaflets and then you get a phone call. Now, I don't know about you, but if you've ever bought a second-hand car and you phoned the guy off Auto Trader, and it's like a private garage, so it's a garage sale, not a private seller, but it makes no difference. How do they answer the phone? Well, we all know when you're going out to buy a second-hand car from a garage, they go, huh? And it makes it sound like you phoned a caveman, doesn't it? And that's what we find our competition does when they get a phone call off a potential vendor. They pick up the phone, they don't know what they're doing, they grunt at the other person. And so this idea, this concept of first impressions is absolutely vital. And if you remember, you've got you in the middle, you've got the person who owns the property, that's the house, and then you've got the person with the money, who's the property sourcer, who's looking. You're the person in the middle, okay? So if this person who's selling the house phones you up and you grunt at them, what do you think is going to happen? Like, they're not going to even believe that you're a bona fide business. And we say to people, treat this like a business, like you would, exactly like would a business. You know, this whole concept of, well, a phone call goes to my mobile and then it goes to voicemail. I don't know a business where it goes to voicemail. Like, certainly I don't leave voicemails for anybody. If I can't answer the goddamn phone, I don't answer my phone, by the way, and I don't have voicemail. I expect everyone to email me. But that's business on my terms. But right now, you're the person who's hoping to get the property vendor on your side. You've got to answer that phone, because if these phone you up and they can't get in touch with you, and the fourth time, the fifth time, the sixth time they've actually tried to phone you and you still don't answer your phone. And we've all got excuses. You're driving, you're putting the rubbish out, you're asleep, you're having a swim, you're running, you're with the kids. We've all got reasons as to why. So you have to have a call answering service that can actually take the phone call, answer it in a professional manner, email you the results, and then you can then phone the vendor back at a certain time. So you could say things like, Mr. Latto is out, but he's asked me to take a message and he'll return all calls between 7 and 9 p.m. Is that okay tonight? The vendor says yes. And then you get the email and you phone the vendor back between 7 and 9 that night. Or you send them a message saying, I can't do it tonight, but would tomorrow night work? But you've made some form of contact in some way. Most sourcers don't do this, okay? And if you don't believe me, phone a couple up and just go and see. Those people that advertise in the newspapers or leaflets or the postcards in Chinese restaurants, Chinese takeaways, for example, or newsagents, phone a couple up and just see what the quality of your competition is like, because I guarantee the quality of your competition is pretty rubbish. And the problem there is that because the quality of your competition is rubbish, you then think that your quality of yourselves doesn't have to be that much higher. And I would firmly disagree with that. Your quality of the way in which you respond has to be business-like. And if you can't run this as a business, you shouldn't be running this at all. To become a sourcer is going to cost you £1,000 or two. Okay, it's not just the 27 quid training, which covers everything. It's the insurance, the PRS, it's everything that you need to get compliant as a property sourcer. So if you're going to pay that amount of money to become a sourcer, you might as well answer your bloody phones properly, right? So again, this is where we're talking about first impressions. We're not necessarily talking about leaflet drops and newspaper advertising, classified, display. It was not about putting postcards up in Chinese takeaways, for example, or newsagents. It's not just about that. It's about how are you going to handle this phone call. And the problem that I also see is, fine, you've now answered the call in a professional manner. You haven't got a clue what the heck you're doing. You don't know what questions to ask. You don't know what to say. You've never done this before. And that's all right. That's not a problem. That's why we role play. You should be role playing these questions. Pretend your partner is the vendor. Pretend that you are the broker, the property sourcer, and get them to ask loads of questions. Ask your mates down the pub. You shouldn't be in pubs right now. You should be all masked up and basically staying at home because there's a pandemic on, don't you know? But you should be phoning up your friends or doing it on Skype or yet more Zoom calls. And you should be role playing these questions. What condition is your property in? It's a terrible question, by the way. Well, what's the postcode of your property? And you can check it out on Rightmove. And just get people to find a property on Rightmove and make this stuff up. But you've got to know how to respond. And you should have a list of like 20 questions, 20 top questions that people are going to ask you, so that you've actually got a canned response ready. How do you operate? How fast can you buy? Can I sell and rent back? I've got this other debt. Can you do anything with that? Can you pay my solicitor's fees? Like, you need to know the answers to all of these questions. And if you don't know the answer to all of these questions, you're not prepared for this phone call, right? So you're treating it like a hobby, which is the mistake that a lot of property sources make. I see all the deals going out there. People are not compliant. They're not signed up to the PRS. They've got no insurance. I see all these deals going out, and I'm looking at some of these deals, by the way, and I'm like, goodness me, that's a shocking deal. What do you mean they've sourced this deal? Now, don't get me wrong. I believe you can find great deals off Rightmove and sell them. I do believe in that, because if you're selling it to a busy doctor and it's a high yield deal, then great. The doctor hasn't got time to go and source that stuff. He's looking for people to introduce, or she's looking for people to introduce that stuff. I do believe you can do that, but you've got to be professional in the way that you're dealing with the vendor, and then you've got to be professional with the way that you're going to deal with your investor. And then this is the next part that I see people struggling with. So it's not just the marketing. Let me put that there. It's not just the marketing from you to them that's the problem, okay? It's not just that. It's how you actually handle yourself once you've got the phone call. Just generating a phone call is not a deal. Generating a phone call is just that. You've generated a phone call, a cold call. Nobody knows anything. We don't know a damn thing about this person. You've got to qualify them. Have you got a list of questions of which to qualify them? That's the first step. Then you can start putting together this semblance of a deal. Then you've got to start packaging it up. In fact, my digital marketing agency has just packaged up a couple of deals for my property sourcing business, and they are shit hot. 6-7 page PDFs. The videos have music and text displaying all the features and benefits of the property. This is good stuff, right? And so when we've now packaged up this deal, great, we've packaged it up, looks really good. Then we have to market it out to these guys, which is the investors. And then this is the other mistake that I see people making, is they have like a sheet of A4 paper with just some stuff typed on it. A couple of random pictures slapped on for good measure. It's like, you ain't selling anything to someone like that, because the very first question that this person is going to ask about you and your business and the deal, does anybody know what it is? It's this. Are you credible? Because honestly, if you're not credible in the way that you're distributing this information, you ain't selling it. It's as simple as that, because this guy or girl doesn't trust the sourcer. I don't trust sourcers. You shouldn't trust sourcers. Even if you are one, you don't trust anybody in property. The property is one of the worst industries for people trying to rip people off. And I saw something on Property Tribes yesterday to do with where someone lent a guy 100 grand, one of the property trainers 100 grand, and now it's all going to court and it's all in public. And you shouldn't trust anybody, right? Don't trust me. I don't trust you. I don't know you. You're not credible. You've got to build credibility, and in your marketing, the way that you package up this deal has to be done in a credible manner, which then leads us on to things like, just checking we've got space. If I type it up here, how do you make yourself credible? So a website. You've got to have a decent website, okay? Your
PDFs of packaged deals. So what's the first thing that someone's going to do? They're going to click on the link and they're going to go to your website. And if you've got a website from 1998 with no graphics on it and all text, then how credible is that? They're going to be asking, are you even still in business? Like, if that's the first thing that people ask about your website, that's not a good thing. That's a negative thing. You want people to go, that's a nice looking website. That's a professional looking website. That's clean. That's modernized. I can see recent posts going up. One of the business buying companies that we own, we just hopefully touch wood again. It's fallen through twice, so hopefully it's going to go for a third time. But on that one, we created a website a couple of months ago, just knocked it together. We're now going through and re-updating that website. And in addition to that, we are posting lots of news in that specific industry, because that's the industry that we want to attract. So when people land on my website for that particular industry, they can see that we're credible. We're also creating like a 6-page company brochure, so that they can see it's not a package deal because it's a company brochure, but they can see that we've spent money on it, we've created this thing, and that builds yet more credibility. And then the next thing you're going to want is some sort of social proof. So social proof of things like testimonials. They don't have to be written, they don't have to be videos, they don't have to be anything. You just got to have them in some way. It can be just someone's name, easy to deal with, 5 stars with it as a text. You don't need someone's picture on there, but you have to have some form of social proof. Social proof could also come down to how many likes your Facebook page has got. If you've got 3 Facebook page likes, you've got no social proof. You do need some Facebook likes. Now, I don't believe in buying likes. However, in order for you to get off the first 100 likes, you might want to just put a little bit of money into it. I'm not great in my belief on that, but I'd rather you do that than have 0 for the next 6 months, because you're going to have 0 social proof there. When you're buying 20,000 page likes, you ruin your algorithm, by the way. So that's why we don't recommend it. And also it's cheating. But just to get a little bit of social proof, you might want to consider that. That's not advice, by the way. We don't recommend any of our clients buy anything. We recommend all our clients get social proof by doing the work in the first place, by putting out lots of content. How else do you get credibility? Let's write this up here. So anybody new who's coming in, credibility. Can you see that? Yeah, you can. So how else do we get credibility then? Social media content. So we post out a ton of videos and a ton of images from people. My watch is telling me I'm having a workout right now. Must be expending a lot of energy stood up writing on a board. But we post out a lot of social media content for images, for videos, for new deals that we get along, for motivational quotes, although they're not worth anything these days. But you've got to have this in your business, otherwise you've got no credibility at all. And by the way, the person selling the house, they're going to check you out as well. Okay? So we know this when, for our business buying agency, investment company, I should say, it's not an agency, we physically buy them ourselves. For that, we know that the people selling, they check us out online, and we are now just putting together a whole bunch of social proof, social media content. We're updating the website. We've got the PDF you can download, and people will download it. If you've got any comments, by the way, stick them in the box down below. But right now, if you're not building credibility, and you've had the last 3 or 4 months at home, basically, because we're in pandemic, you've had lots of opportunity to create credibility by getting your website up to date, by making sure that your PDFs for people to download for those package deals, that they're up and running and they're going to look good. But you can start focusing on social proof, that you can start putting out social media content. This is how you are going to close more deals. Generating a phone call isn't enough anymore, right? Because lots of people are generating phone calls. What separates you from everybody else? Credibility is what's going to separate you from everybody else. Get your website up to date, get some nice looking PDFs created, create some social proof, get some people to say what a nice person you are. But they've known you for a long time, and you always say what you're going to do, you always keep your word. Even if it's nothing to do with actually buying property, but you keep your word, that's better than nothing. As long as you're honest about it, right? I'm not saying that you're not, that you're dishonest in any way. Social media content, start posting about your journey. Going to view 3 more properties today. Hopefully we'll get one. If you're an investor looking for high yielding properties, then hit me up, come and join our mailing list, and we'll add you onto it. And if one of these deals works, then I'll email you, let you know all about it, and you can be the first in the list. Like saying stuff like that on a live video on every property that you go view, that's exactly what you should be doing. Okay, that will do us for today. No questions coming up. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be live again on Friday. I'm just seeing where I am on Friday. I think I'm here. So Friday is Mindset and Hustle show. Come and join me for that. Other than that, hope that's useful. Go buy yourself a £27 property sourcing product if you haven't already. And that will be, all of this is included in there anyway, but it goes into a lot more detail than we can go through in a Facebook Live. Anyway, hope that's useful for you. Come and join me on Friday and we'll speak to you then. My name's Dan Latto. Take care.
Hey, it's Dan here. Thank you for listening. Really appreciate each and every one of you. Please click like or subscribe to the entire podcast.